Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. I would like to start the session with a nice quote. What is today's quote? A dream does not become reality through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. I'm sure you guys have a lot of dreams, and to make your dreams come true, one has to remember, you should remember, it doesn't happen through magic. It takes sweat, determination, and hard work. Only then you can make your dreams come true. That is today's quote. Now, coming to the editorial, it is all about meeting aspirations against the backdrop of Indian Independence Day celebrations, the 75th Independence Day celebrations. So, how to meet the aspirations and what lies in future and how to go about. It's all about that. And today, you're going to, there are a lot of words, important words, based on this editorial. Let us go to editorial vocabulary. What is the first word? Aspiration. I'm sure you guys know the meaning of the word aspiration and you're all aspirants. So, what does it mean? Part of speech noun, a hope or ambition. More than a hope, it is ambition of achieving something. You have an aspiration, you aspire for something. That means what? You have the ambition to achieve something. Approbation, we have got for the first time, and it's an important word. Approbation means part of speech noun, approval or praise. In this context, you could take it as praise, approval or praise. Stately, another important word we have got for the first time, part of speech adjective, impressive or grand in size, appearance, or manner. Something looks grand, impressive, imposing. Then we use the word stately. Usually it goes with a building. Pressing, part of speech adjective, and this is an important word in the sense you should not get confused with the word press. Press as a noun, a different meaning. Press as a verb, a different meaning. Here, pressing adjective, it means what? Requiring quick or immediate action or attention. Pressing issues, pressing problems means what? Something requires quick or immediate action or attention. Tugging, tug, verb, tugging, ing form, part of speech, verb, obviously. Pull something hard or suddenly. More than suddenly, pull something hard with a lot of struggle. Seem, it has a different meanings. In this context, a different meaning altogether. Part of speech, it could be a noun, it could be a verb. A line, I would like to write, it could be a noun as well. A line across a surface as a crack, fissure, or wrinkle. Across or along a surface, if there's a crack, fissure, or wrinkle, obviously it forms a line. That line is called a seam. In this context, it's like problems. Laced, literal meaning, part of speech verb, fasten or tighten a shoe or garment by tying the laces. So you try to tie something with laces, it is lacing, obviously. But another meaning of the word lace, to put into something else, that means mixing. In this context, that is a meaning you have to think of. Scanty, we have got many a time, part of speech adjective. Small or insufficient in quantity or amount. Sometimes we use the phrase scantily dressed, scantily dressed, scanty, not sufficient or insufficient. Apparently, I use regularly. Obviously, one meaning, part of speech adverb. It also means according to, what seems to be true. When you see something at the outset, something seems true, then we use the word apparently. Stock taking, part of speech noun, another important expression. The action of reviewing and assessing one's situation and options. One of the meanings, it has two or three meanings. In this context, based on the editorial, the action of reviewing and assessing one's situation and options, looking at the country, the future of the country, looking at the situation or assessing the situation, we use stock taking. Insight, I use regularly, part of speech noun, the capacity to gain an accurate and deep understanding of someone or something. You can also say insight means deep understanding of something, not someone, usually something. Expensive is different, expansive is different. These two words come under confusing words. Expensive, costly, exorbitant, another word you have to recollect. But here, expansive, part of speech adjective, covering a wide area in terms of space or scope. We can also think of the word extensive, widespread, covering a wide area in terms of space or scope, expansive. Pernicious, another important word, I think we have got for the first time. Pernicious means what? Part of speech adjective, having a harmful effect. It has a negative connotation, especially in a gradual or subtle way. That doesn't matter, but pernicious means what? Harmful effect. Dynasty, it goes with history. A line of hereditary rulers of a country. The Mughal dynasty, so many dynasties, the Gupta dynasty, a line of hereditary rulers of a country. Modern times, it means from a particular family down the line, a lot of people rule. Then also we use the word dynastic rule. Dwelt, dwell is a verb, and the past form dwelt. Past participle also dwelt. Dwell could be a noun, it could be a verb. Dwellings, the noun form, the place where one resides. Dwell also means to reside, but it has another meaning. In this context, that goes with the second meaning. What is that meaning? To keep the attention directed, to think deeply about something, dwell on something. It takes a preposition on. Usually, it goes with dwell on the past. Dwell on the past means to think a lot about the past, an important word. Obstacles, obstacles singular, obstacles plural. It's a noun. We have got many a time. A thing that blocks one's way or prevents or hinders progress. Something that blocks. We use the word obstacle, hindrance, impediment. Yes, that's right. That's a good one. Sail, part of speech, verb. It could be a noun as well, but generally it is used as a verb. Move smoothly and rapidly, or in a stately or confident manner. Someone or something moves slowly, steadily, and smoothly and rapidly. And also in a confident manner, we use the word sail, sailing. But another meaning of the word sail, to travel across the world by ship. If you use ship, then it is sailing, obviously. Benchmark, we have got many a time, and it could be a noun, it could be a verb. A standard or point of reference against which things may be compared. We can compare things, or we try to compare things against a particular standard, then we use the word benchmark. Benchmark has other meanings as well. Egalitarian, an important word we have got for the first time, I suppose, but it is, in fact, an important word. It goes with a particular society, believing in or based on the principle that all people are equal and deserve equal rights and opportunities. All are equal, but that is never going to happen. It is not practically possible, but still, theoretical, egalitarian society, a society where all the people are equal and they deserve equal rights. Turbulence, usually this goes with a flight, turbulence while flying, a state of conflict or confusion. In the context of politics, it means a state of conflict or confusion. So these are the words from today's editorial. Now let us go to the editorial and see what is there to learn from comprehension point of view, grammar point of view, and vocabulary point of view. Meeting aspirations. Not easy to make out, but what does it mean? The word aspiration, singular, aspirations, plural. A hope or ambition of achieving something. You all have a lot of aspirations. You're all ambitious youth. So you have a goal, you have something to achieve. You want to achieve something. Meeting aspirations. So, how to meet aspirations? Not easy to make out. But when you read the next sentence, you understand what it is about, the editorial. India needs better governance. India needs something. What is it? Better governance for the sake of its own people, not global approbation. First, to understand this, you have to know the meaning of the word approbation. Means approval or praise. Against the backdrop of Independence Day celebrations, the 75th Independence celebrations, this is a backdrop. India needs better governance. India needs something. What does it need? Better governance for the sake of its own people, to benefit its own people. And it does not, India does not need global approbation. This is based on, editorial is based on two things. One is India needs what? It needs better governance. And so many aspects go with better governance: social, political, cultural, religious, all these. And the second dimension, it does not need global approbation. It does not need global approval or global praise. Now it goes to, based on the background, yesterday what exactly happened, celebrations, based on that, the speech given by the PM and what exactly he said, based on that, again, analysis. At the fag end of the editorial talks about what exactly India has to do to meet the aspirations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi rightly described independent India's 75-year journey as one of ups and downs in his ninth speech from the stately Red Fort on Monday. Here there is one important word: stately. Means what? Impressive or grand in size, appearance, or manner. Usually on the eve of the Independence Day, the Prime Minister addresses the nation from the ramparts of the Red Fort. And Red Fort, the monument, obviously stately Red Fort. It is quite impressive, grand in size, beyond any doubt. So this talks about, this is a background, this is a stimulus. Prime Minister Narendra Modi rightly described, the editorial says, the PM rightly described independent India's 75-year journey. 75 years, the journey, Prime Minister has said, it is one of ups and downs. That means what? Both positive and negative aspects. And throughout the journey, ups are there, downs are there. It is one of ups and downs. And the editorial opines, rightly described as one of ups and downs, from where, in his ninth speech from the stately Red Fort on Monday. Then it talks about what exactly he said. Praising those who fought for India's freedom, the Prime Minister pointed to the country's achievements, even as praising those who fought for India's freedom. Freedom, obviously, while giving a speech on the eve of the independence, one has to praise those who fought for the freedom. Praising those who fought for India's freedom, the Prime Minister pointed to the country's achievements, even as, you can also say, roller coaster ride. That's very good. He acknowledged the challenges. On the one hand, he praised the freedom fighters. On the other hand, he acknowledged the challenges of fulfilling an important word, to complete, challenges of fulfilling the pressing needs of an ever aspirational society, tugging at the seams of government. A bit difficult to understand this particular sentence, because there are three important words. You have to know the meanings of those words. Only then you will be able to comprehend the meaning of the sentence. The first word, pressing needs. Here, needs is a noun, pressing adjective. If you take the word press, it can be a noun, it can be a verb, and any verb ing form can be used as an adjective. It can be used as a noun again. Then we use the term gerund. So here, pressing needs, it's an adjective. What does it mean? Requiring quick or immediate action or attention, something that is urgent, something important, and we have to act immediately. Fulfilling, on the one hand, he praised the freedom fighters, on the other hand, he acknowledged the challenges. What are these challenges of fulfilling, completing the pressing needs, important needs, urgent needs of an ever aspirational society? India, he described as ever aspirational society, tugging at the seams of government. Tug means to pull something hard or suddenly at the seams of government. This is a bit difficult to understand. Again, you should not get confused between something seems, it seems right. That is a different word. What is the spelling? Double E. But what is the spelling of this particular word? SEAM, seam, part of speech verb. A line across, it could be a noun as well. A line across a surface as a crack, fissure, or wrinkle. So there's a line across a surface that could be a crack, a fissure, or wrinkle. Then we use as a noun. Seem as a verb, more or less the same one. The problems in this context, tugging or dealing with or pulling hard or working very hard to deal with the problems of government. National pride and self-esteem. Self-esteem is an important thing. Loose ends, you can say that as well. Self-esteem means the feeling about oneself at the individual level. The feeling about oneself is known as self-esteem. You feel about yourself positive, you have a good positive self-esteem, but you don't feel positive about yourself, then you don't have the right self-esteem. You lack self-esteem. Self-esteem is very important to come up in life. National pride and self-esteem, in this context, it goes with the country, were dominant themes. So during his speech, what were the dominant themes? Any speech, public speaking, usually there is one theme or one or two. And in this context, two themes. One is national pride, the other one self esteem. National pride and self esteem were dominant themes as he urged the country to rid itself of, get rid of, I'm sure you guys know that, to rid itself of the need to look for approval from abroad. Here, there are two things. There are two themes. One is national pride, the other one is self esteem. And the Prime Minister urged the country to rid itself of the need to look for approval from abroad. Usually, what happens, first, you have to have self esteem. You got to be confident, not diffident. At the same time, you have to take pride in what you have. Being an Indian, that is one thing in this context. But usually, what happens, people try to get the approval from outside, external source. And also, they try to depend on external source for approval or appreciation or praise or to be lauded. So, this sentence talks about you need to work on national pride and you need to have self esteem. These two things are very important. And also, do remember you should get rid of that habit of looking for approval from abroad, outside other countries, international community. Other countries say India is doing well. That means you are depending. You should know for yourself whether you're doing well or not. You have to take pride. So here, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Any mistake, I would have definitely highlighted. Don't do. Nothing wrong with that. Asking the question about how long India could go on living on certificate from abroad, the Prime Minister wondered why India could not develop its own markers. Asking the question, how long do you want to depend on external praise? How long do you want to depend on outside sources to be appreciated? Asking the question about how long India could go on living on certificates from abroad, outside the country, international community, other countries. How long do you want to depend on the certificates from abroad? The Prime Minister has questioned one thing. The Prime Minister also wondered why India could not develop its own markers. Why should we depend on external sources? Why can't we develop our own markers? Though Mr. Modi provided no context to these remarks, against what backdrop he said these, there was no clue. Though Mr. Modi provided no context to these remarks, his comments could indicate his unhappiness with international criticism directed at his government on governance and human rights issues. What could be the reason? Not obvious, but reason could indicate possibility, but the chances are less. His comments could indicate his unhappiness with international criticism. International community criticized two aspects when it comes to his tenure or reign. One related to governance, the other related to human rights issues. So, though Mr. Modi provided no context to these remarks, his comments could indicate his unhappiness, not being happy with international criticism, obviously, directed at his government on governance and human rights issues. Successive prime ministers, here editorial says, usually the prime ministers, how do they use the occasion or the particular day? Successive prime ministers have used their Independence Day speeches as a stock taking of their government's record and as an insight to what the nation might face. There are two dimensions. Usually, the successive prime ministers, if you look at the line of prime ministers, the successive prime ministers have used their Independence Day speeches for two things. One, stock taking of the government's record. Stock taking, an important expression, the action of reviewing and assessing one situation and options of the government's record, how they are governing one thing, and as an insight to what the nation might face, the future. Insight into future. Insight, an important word, the capacity to gain an accurate and deep understanding of someone or something. With 2 years left for the general election, the Prime Minister was in an expansive mood. There's one important word here, expansive. Expensive is different, expansive, different. Asking the nation, obviously, not an individual. Here, expansive means covering a wide area in terms of space or scope, or you can also think of the word extensive. With 2 years left for the general election, the Prime Minister was in an expansive mood, taking up issues of covering a wide range of issues: women's safety, like women's safety, energy self reliance, celebrating the diversity of India, cultural diversity, the need to respect all languages, and promising an all-out war against corruption and parivarvad, or the pernicious influence of dynasty. So this sentence, a lengthy sentence, it talks about 2 years left for general election. The prime minister was in an expansive mood. Means he touched many aspects or many dimensions. Some of those dimensions are women's safety, energy self-reliance, celebrating the diversity of India, the need to respect all languages, and promising an all-out war against corruption, and parivarvad. What does it mean? Or the pernicious influence of dynasty. There are two important words over here. One is pernicious, that's an important word. Part of speech adjective. What does it mean? Having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual or subtle way. Not all of a sudden, not quite obviously, subtle, slight, it means, and gradual. The other word, dynasty. Here, the word dynasty, a line of hereditary rulers of a country. Obviously, perhaps he was referring to the Gandhis. The prime minister asked the people to give him their blessings as a battle against corruption enters a decisive phase where even the big fish will not be spared. This is a standard expression. When it comes to corruption, usually people say the big wigs or the big fish will not be spared. Means they're going to touch everyone and they're not going to spare someone based on his wealth or based on his influence. This sentence talks about the prime minister seeking the blessings of the public because elections 2 years down the line, as a battle against corruption enters a decisive phase. And he also said the big fish will not be spared. Even as he dwelt, generally the word dwell, used as a noun or used as a verb, dwell, dwelt. It means to keep the attention directed towards or to focus on something. Simply, you can remember to focus on something. Even as he dwelt on governance issues, Mr. Modi laced his speech. The literal meaning of the word lace, fasten or tighten a shoe or garment by tying the laces. But in this context, mixing with something, he dwelt on governance issues. At the same time, he also laced his speech with a political appeal. That means, though he dwelt on governance issues, he mixed that speech with political appeal. That's what it means. Mr. Modi was silent about his promises made in 2016 to double the income of farmers by the time the country celebrated its 75th Independence Day. There was a promise in 2016. Regarding that promise, he remained silent. Mr. Modi was silent about his promises made in 2016, and one of the promises to double the income of farmers by the time the country celebrated its 75th Independence Day. However, he did lay out an important verb, lie, laid. However, he did lay out, this pattern is used to emphasize. A regular pattern he laid out. However, he did lay out his vision for an Amrit Kal or developed age in the next 25 years, the 100th year of India's independence in 2047. 2047 will be completing 100 years. So, based on that, he did lay out his vision for an Amrit Kal or developed age in the next 25 years, the 100th year of India's independence in 2047. Details of how the country would reach the objective were scanty, apparently kept for another day. He did not disclose, he did not talk about, he did not give the details regarding achieving the objective. Details of how the country would reach the objective were scanty. Scanty, an important word, small or insufficient in quantity or amount. Apparently, according to what seems to be true, you can also think of the word obviously, kept for another day. Some other day, perhaps he's going to talk about the details, how to achieve the objective. In keeping with the Bharatiya Janata Party's new status as a natural party of governance, the Prime Minister emphasized that India had got a stable government after many decades, resulting in speedy decision making. If at all there is a stable government, usually if there is a stable government, it results in speedy decision making. Coalition government, coalition government, very difficult. A lot of people they have to discuss. There should be consensus, and the decision should be unanimous. On the other hand, if on the contrary, a stable government they can take decisions within no time. Based on that, this sentence says, in keeping with the Bharatiya Janata Party's new status as a natural party of governance, the Prime Minister underlined that India had got a stable government after many decades, resulting in what is the result of that stable government? Resulting in speedy decision making. There was little in his 82-minute speech about the strategic challenges before the country. There was little, you have to recollect. Little means hardly anything, almost nothing. It has a negative connotation. There was little in his 82-minute speech about the strategic challenges. Strategic means one of the meanings goes with depends. Strategic challenges before the country in the wake of tensions at the borders, obviously related to defense, in the wake of tensions at the borders and turbulence, a state of conflict or confusion, trouble in the international order following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. To achieve it, now the editorial talks about how to meet the aspirations. To achieve its full potential, India must not only be able to overcome many obstacles that hold it back, but also sail with the rest of the world in meeting the benchmarks of democratic rights, equitable distribution of wealth, and access to health and education. So, how to meet the aspirations or how to achieve full potential? To achieve its full potential, India must do something. India must not only be able to overcome many obstacles. Whenever we use the word obstacle, we use overcoming the obstacles. So India must be able to overcome many obstacles, hurdles, impediments, blocks that hold it back, but also not only, and important, not only, but also sail with the rest of the world. It has to travel with the rest of the world in meeting certain things, in meeting what? The benchmarks of the standards of democratic rights, equitable distribution of wealth, and access to health and education. Two things are important here: overcoming obstacles and also sailing with the rest of the world. India might not need approval from other countries. We don't need. India might not need approval from other countries, but it needs to do better on rights and freedoms, welfare and justice, growth and development, and in building a more egalitarian society. Reiterating the main idea, what is the main idea of this? We don't need external approval or approbation. India might not need approval from other countries, but it needs something. What does it need? It needs to do better on rights and freedoms, welfare and justice, growth and development, and in building a more egalitarian society. This is an important word, egalitarian, a belief that all are equal, all have or deserve equal rights. That's all about the editorial. Looks like a lengthy one. Yes, I do agree. And let us go to comprehension based skills. What is this editorial about? You may get chances are there something like this as a passage in films or mains. What were dominant themes in the Prime Minister's speech? How have successive Prime Ministers used their Independence Day speeches? Easy to answer. What did the Prime Minister lace his speech with, combine his speech with? To achieve its full potential, India must do what? India must do two things. What are those two things you have to write? I'm offering two courses right now. One is General English for SSC, live classes, though a few topics are over. The course fee is actually 2000, but right now there's an offer, 1000 rupees, 50% off. It has been extended till 20th of this month, August 20th, and the validity 1 year, medium of instruction English. The time slot is morning 11:30 a.m. The other course, English for Banks, again 2000, but there's an offer 50% off. Even this has been extended till 20th of this month. Today, no practice questions based on exam topics. You have to work on editorial vocabulary. Please try to respond. Look at the word and write the meaning. Write the part of speech as well. What is the meaning of approbation? First part of speech, obviously. Noun, what does it mean? So was Modi's speech. Who is this? Approbation means what? No one has responded. Approval, very good. Approval or praise. C is the answer. Stately, adjective. It goes with a building, it goes with appearance, a monument. In this context, a monument, the Red Fort, means what? Impressive or grand in size. Pressing needs, pressing problems. Again, adjective. What does it mean? Requiring quick action or attention. Answer is J. Scanty, scantily dressed, usual expression, part of speech, adjective. Small or insufficient in something. A is the answer. Tug is a verb, tugging. Pull something hard or suddenly. Insight, I use regularly. Deep understanding, capacity to gain an accurate or deep understanding about someone or something. Answer is B. Pernicious, an important word we have got for the first time. Part of speech, meager, dearth, shortage. All these words you can recollect. Pernicious, part of speech, adjective. Having a harmful effect. Answer is D. Dwell, part of speech, verb, dwelling, noun. To keep the attention directed, to focus on something. Obstacles, obviously, noun, obstacles, singular. Things that block one's way. Hurdles, impediments, blocks, obstacles to achieve something. Egalitarian, an important word, word of the day. Egalitarian society, a typical combination based on the principle that all are equal, or all people deserve equal rights. That's all about today's editorial. Hope you guys have got enriched. Have a nice day. Do remember to subscribe and share. After the session, go to the description of the video. There are two links. One, Telegram group, Murthy's English. The other one, my app, Murthy's English. You can click, then you can download the app and you get an idea of the courses. Right now, I'm